Guys, welcome back to our channel. So our today's topic is Top 10 White-Collar Crime Cases. Before talking about the main topic, let me tell you people a little about what crimes are actually known as white-collar crimes. Does any of you already have an idea what are white-collar crimes? I'm sure most of you know this. But again, I will give out a little explanation for the people who don't know what white-collar crimes are. White-collar crimes are basically non-violent kind of crimes. They are usually committed to gain financial advantage, and it is usually performed very professionally. Such crimes usually happen in huge firms, businesses, and government sectors. For example, falsifying documents, that is basically lying on official documents or maybe forging someone else's signature on an official document. The most famous example for white-collar crime is money laundering. This is basically turning your illegal income to an illegal income, maybe by showing some fake business, or appointment letter, or an ownership letter. Another common example of white-collar crime is insider trading. It is basically when a person on the inside, incorporate, uses official knowledge to purchase or sell stocks in order to make money or to avoid a loss. Tax evasion is a very common white-collar crime. This is when people or organizations brought their documents to avoid paying taxes, because this could result in maybe penalties. I'm sure now all of you are clear with what exactly are white-collar crimes. Now, we can get back to our main topic, and that is Top 10 White-Collar Crime Cases. The first case that we will be discussing today is about Martha Stewart. She was basically an entrepreneur, and her white-collar crime was inside trading. What really happened was, she owned stock in a biotech company. And one day, all of a sudden, she decided to sell all her stock. The very next day, the biotech company's experimental cancer drug was denied of FDA approval. Later it was found that she was tipped. She knew this was going to happen. Can you guys imagine how much money she saved by doing this? Well, she saved $230,000. Holy moly, that's a big amount. Just imagine saving yourself from losing that much money. The tip actually came from stockbroker. She must still be thanking that stockbroker. Even though an investigation was put on her and she was convicted, she also served about 5 months in prison. The next most famous case that we have come up with to discuss with you guys is a tax evasion case. And the name of the culprit is Al Capone. I was a strong man, weighed a very strong hold upon his organization, so the official authorities couldn't pin him down. He basically had $215,000 worth of tax that was still pending. He never really paid these taxes. Finally, a capable federal agent investigated on Al Capone and uncovered this case. He was sentenced in prison for 11 years. The most important part that I haven't actually revealed is that Al Capone was actually a mobster. He was involved in extortion, murder, and other mafia activities. Yeah, surprising, isn't it? The case that we are going to highlight next is a very famous case that was highlighted globally as well. I'm sure most of you heard it. It's the Enron case. I don't think many of you know exactly what happened. So let's make it clear for you guys. Enron was basically an energy company. It was making revenue of over $100 billion. It was widely successful in the stock market. The company started to fabricate its profit. They also started using off-balance sheet special purpose vehicles just to hide the debit. After trying so hard to hide their financial position, they were still caught, and the owner received prison for 6 years. Also, the share of the company fell from about 90 to about $0.26. The next one is WorldCom case. This was basically a telecommunication industry. This was also considered as the biggest accounting scandals in the entire US history. They were actually caught. Wait, I wouldn't say caught, but yeah, the investigation started. Vendor internal audits came to know about some unknown accounting expenses that was for over $3.8 billion. These were considered as accounting irregularities and are not approved by the official accounting principles. HEALTHSOUTH, this is the 5th case that we are going to inform you about. It was initially a rehabilitative service company. The investigation started from 1996 and ended in 2002. The company falsified about $3 billion of profit. And obviously the founder of the company, Richard Strushy, completely refused that something like this happened. The company was mainly guilty of defrauding the government healthcare programs. Initially, Richard saved himself from the 84 cases filed against him, but fortunately, after 3 years, he was convicted of different other charges that included money laundering, extortion, racketeering, and other various crimes. For this, he was sent to prison for 6 years. Our next case is a very interesting one. Ever heard of Bernie Madoff? I would say he was a gambler and a player. So what he did was, he introduced a scheme named Ponzi scheme. This was introduced in America. What he would do was, he would collect money from the new investors and return this money to the old investors. So basically, he would just keep the money flowing around while keeping the top cherry for himself. Ponzi scheme was known as the biggest one in the American history. Yes, you heard that right. The estimated amount of money that was flowing around was almost about $65 billion. Finally, in 2008 he was arrested and was guilty of 11 security frauds and money laundering. I'm sure they could have just sentenced him for a lifetime, but they chose to sentence him for 150 years. Yeah, that's about a lifetime, actually about 2 lifetimes. But yeah, that's what he got. He was also ordered to return about $170 billion to the investors. Oh, the sad part is that he was actually caught because of his son, Mark. He was the one to reveal what Barney was actually up to. And after Barney was sent to prison, Mark committed suicide. Okay folks, this is a fun case. Marcus, he was working as an American financial advisor. Guess what his crime was? I am sure none of you could guess the right answer, unless you've already heard about this case. Let's uncover his crime. He literally attempted his fake death. He did it because of financial and legal issues. Let me tell you a little of his story, of how he faked his death. On January 11, 2009, Marcus flew in his private jet to another city. While traveling, he called at the air traffic control room that his windshield was broken, and he was bleeding a lot. Whereas, he jumped out of the plane, with a parachute on, and putting the plane on autopilot mode. The plane flew about 320 kilometers before it actually crashed. Later, in the investigation, it was found that the windshield was perfectly alright, and no blood was found at the crash location. On the other hand, Marcus was locally roaming around with a fake name. He was caught in June 2009. He was sentenced for 51 months in prison and had to pay a penalty of $905,000, and again, in October 2010, he was sentenced for 10 years of prison with a fine of about $630,000. During all this, his wife Michelle divorced him. Alright guys, I guess that's enough of crime stories and cases for today. We really hope you enjoyed the cases, I mean the white-collar crime cases, that we have collected for you. And I guess, now every one of you must be clear that what white-collar crimes are. They did not cause any physical damage or materialistic damage, but they do cause some serious financial and emotional damage. Why I'm saying emotional damage is because, once you're bankrupt, I don't think you can be the same, emotionally and mentally. I guess this is it from our side. Hope you guys liked this video. Now you people know about the world's most famous white-collar crimes. We will see you next week, with some other crime video. Till then, hang on to our channel, Crime Hives. And wait for some more exciting videos.